Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of your Brains Coach podcast. My name is Angela Shurina. I'm your host, I'm your Brains Coach, and it is my job here to deconstruct, teach to you, share with you, bring to you the most effective, useful, fascinating, and life-changing brain body tools so you could take better control of your thoughts, of your emotions, and most importantly, of your actions consistently so you could shape your life experience as yourself, as you want. We human beings are a special kind of animal, special kind of creatures. Probably to our knowledge are the only kind of animals that can self-direct our development, the development even of our genes. And on today's podcast, I want to tell you the core foundational principle of how we grow ourselves and how we develop ourselves. And also, hopefully, giving you an insight into why you might be stuck in certain areas and kind of like going in circles and like, I'd like to be better, but it's not happening. And why is it not happening? Today, I'm going to give you the main reason why for a lot of people, growth and development is not happening and they're kind of stuck at the same level, and how you can change it almost in an instant by changing how then you're going to approach your life and how you do things. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about my clients and how we work together to give you also an idea of how to actually approach self-change, self-development by yourself. If you're working on that personally with yourself, one-on-one, without the help of a coach or perhaps some group training or any outside source. So how do you change? The first step to changing anything is probably the feeling of dissatisfaction. You're like, a lot of my clients realize that they need to work on their mindset, for example, because it's either not making them happy or doesn't make them grow and make them instead go in circles, or have some obstacles within that. Yes, I want this. Yes, I understand the hard work, but something is still inside of me stopping me. Like, what is it, right? So with a lot of my clients, no matter what kind of goals we work on, whether that's personal productivity, whether that's recovery practices to prevent burnout and increase energy output, personal effectiveness, or improve body composition, weight loss, and health habits, etc. No matter what we are working on with my clients, the first step is, yes, agreeing on the fact that we are not where we want to be. But then the second step is making unconscious conscious, or raising awareness of skills or behaviors that do not work for us. Like, for example, if we are working on health habits, our eating might not be working and we might be making food decisions, the ones that don't work for us. And we know that, but we keep doing that. So the first one is capturing the data. What kind of decisions we make and when and why, and what triggers that, what begins the chain reaction of our behavior, right? So first is capturing, is noticing, if you want to change our thought patterns, because we have negative self-talk that then affects our emotions and then affects our actions. The first step is to capture our thoughts with this exercise I call thought audit, that is actually used in many either coaching traditions or different kind of therapies. First, you got to capture like what's happening in your head, so we could then investigate and change, and also do some self-discovery work, like where is it coming from, and is it even true, or is it some childhood belief that I never actually investigated and just keep carrying it with me, right? But first is capturing. So, and by that, raising awareness of what's happening inside of your head. And I wanted to share with you that because a lot of you kind of bypass this step and jump into action, and then you self-sabotage. And that self-sabotage actually happens. So by self-sabotage, we mean we know the action that we need to take and we are determined to change it. but we keep doing something else, right? We don't consistently work out. We don't consistently eat better. We don't consistently show up for our work, for our business, for our relationship, whatever that might be. We know it's good for us. We agree that we want to do that, but we're still not doing that. Like, why is that? The answer 99.9% of the time is in your head. And so you need to analyze, you need to audit your thoughts. And for that, by the way, some of my clients also tell me that, well, it's not that easy. I don't always notice what I think about. And you're right. For a lot of people who don't practice mindfulness, who don't practice meditations, by mindfulness, we mean stopping and paying attention to here and now, and any sorts of practices like breath work or meditation, or just simply focusing on different things, whether that's a sensation inside of you or outside in the environment. That's mindfulness, and you need to practice that. And the more you practice it, the more you become aware of everything that is happening inside of you, whether that's your thinking, your emotions, or even your physiological processes, like, my stomach is off. Why is it? My heart is beating faster. Why is it? My energy levels are low, right? So the more you practice your mindfulness practices like breathwork, for example, the more you become aware of things that are happening in the present moment inside of you and outside of you. And the more chances you have to intervene and actually change things and choose to respond instead of reacting automatically. So first, also mindfulness. You see how there is a lot of that background work to make self-change efficient and effective. And so, okay, now we're at the point where you do notice, yes, your self-talk, but even having an intention to notice your self-talk and having a notebook to write it down will help you to become more aware of what you think about. What I also recommend to my clients who say, well, I don't usually notice, I recommend them to notice their energy. When is your mood low? When is your energy low? And then see what you're thinking about. See where your thoughts go, right? That's a great indication that your thought process might also be more in a negative state. So watch it then when your energy and mood is low. So now we notice, again, with a lot of my clients and you folks, all of us, most of us need to work on our mindset. It's very rare that we end up having amazing, supportive, self-encouraging self-talk. A lot of us have different thinking patterns that are not effective, that don't allow us to move towards our goals or aspirations or development where we want to go in our life. So first, again, notice it, capture that, and then start working through that, right? Now you have your notebook and you have your thoughts, and you look at each thought and, for example, self-doubting thought, I won't be able to do that, or this is goal too high, this is like impossible for me, this is too difficult, this is too challenging, or you're not good enough, you can't do that, you don't have what it takes, like all of these thoughts, and they usually have a lot more context than I just told you. And then you analyze each and every thought, like, where does this come from? Is it actually objective? Why do I have this thought? What is it based on? And you start deconstructing your own thoughts. And very often you will discover that the roots of these thoughts come from your past, from some experiences that might not hold any ground in your life today, and that might be something that your dad told you, your mom told you, not necessarily even meaning that, but we all have different moods throughout the day, but the kid in you remembered that. Now you're carrying this, and that's where your self-limiting belief might come from. So whenever you feel like you don't, or you see the pattern of thinking where you don't believe in your ability to change, to improve, and to get better, you gotta most of the time look into the past. It doesn't have to be traumatic. It's just, again, something you heard that your mom used, your dad used, your other primary caregiver, maybe your older sister, your older brother. Those also are prominent features usually for all of us in our life. And then analyze, like, is it really true? Or is it serving me? Or is it just my past that I even overgrew, but I still carry this belief with me? And once you bring the unconscious into your conscious awareness and to your prefrontal cortex, first of all, it loses almost immediately a lot of its power, at least 50%. And then you can start reframing and reconstructing those thoughts. What do I mean by that? Your internal dialogue might say you're not good enough, and you might add a better you, because now you know where it's coming from. You're like, I'm not good enough yet. I can develop and grow in this area, just like any other human being can get better and can develop skills. Isn't that an objective truth, that a human being can develop? And that back to the thought that we are the only animal that actually can effectively do that. Any human being can improve through conscious and consistent effort and energy and training put into a specific skill, right? You're like, okay, so this is not true. I'm not good at it yet, or I'm working on it and getting better. I might not be at a master level or at this level that I want to be, but through repetition, through skill training, through learning, I can get better just like any other human being, right? And whenever now this thought comes up, I'm like, oh, that is not true. And I know where it's coming from. And this is actually what's true right now. And that will allow you to actually eliminate a lot of issues with your confidence, with maybe fear of failure and rejection, because for each of those, it's basically your internal dialogue somewhere down the road is telling you you're not good enough, and that's therefore you're failing. And now with this new dialogue, you actually have a different thought or a different belief. I'm not good at it yet. So yes, I might have failed this time, but now let me learn through it, because any human being can learn and improve and then get better. And next time I will do better if I work on that, obviously, not just, doing the same thing, expecting different results. As Einstein said, that is the definition of insanity. So yeah, there are no miracles, but you, as any human being, can improve and will when you put consistent effort, right? Or imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, yes, you might not be great for that position or that goal or that opportunity that you got, but guess what? You can actually get ready, you can improve, you can learn, you can train your skills, and you can get better at that. And then you might still have imposter syndrome, but for higher goals. Imposter syndrome is a normal thing. It's like life usually would, if you're a person of growth and that's your commitment in life, life will give you opportunities above your pay grade, so to speak, and you will feel like you're not good enough, because guess what? You're not good enough yet, but you will improve. You can improve if you put effort, energy, training into that. So imposter syndrome, totally normal. But it doesn't mean that you cannot get better and overgrow that imposter syndrome for that specific thing. But then you're going to feel it for other things that, again, you're not good enough for yet. But you are given these opportunities, you will learn, you will improve, and you will tackle it. The same thing with confidence. A lot of times you'd feel lack of confidence approaching higher goals, think you're, so to speak, not qualified for. Guess what? Not qualified for yet. Life gives you opportunity to grow, and those are your stretch goals. Those are where you learn, you change, you adapt. And yes, you're not going to feel confident because you haven't done it yet. But the more you do it, the more you learn, the more you expose yourself to things that you were not good enough for yet, then you're going to be good enough for, and you're going to be better, and you are going to change your goals and goalposts. And then again, you're not going to be good enough, and you're going to feel like an imposter, and you're going to fail a lot. That's a normal thing. And that's what we these days, from a lot of my clients, entrepreneurs, we talk a lot about failure and rejection and confidence, lack of confidence or diminishing confidence and imposter syndrome. And guess what, folks? All of these are totally normal. there is in coaching, there is this concept: before you can change anything, you need to normalize it. And please realize that not feeling confident, feeling like an imposter, feeling being afraid or not necessarily loving failure, it's totally normal human thing. And every single leader, every single business leader, science leader in any public arena that you admire, all of them had this and have this on a regular basis. And guess what they do with that? They take more action, they learn, they work on it, then improve until they get better and they can do it while feeling not all that confident. But to the feeling of not feeling confident, it's like with failure or confidence or imposter syndrome, the more you jump into that fear, the more you do things like, for example, afraid of public speaking, most of us are, do more of it, and you're going to fear less of it. You're still going to feel this, a little bit of anxiety and this cortisol, adrenaline, all this, stress hormones circulating. But with exposure to public speaking, your brain gonna feel comfortable more and more, becoming familiar with a more exposure to that experience. And yes, you're gonna still feel like those butterflies in your stomach, but you'll be able to make them fly information and use it as your fuel to perform. And you'll just get used to the experience inside of you, and you normalize it. And then you're like, okay, this is normal. That is what we do. Yes, I don't feel confident maybe speaking in front of thousands of people for the first time, but then you do it again and again and again, and it's gonna feel more and more and more and more normal. But again, feeling a little bit of negativity, feeling like an imposter, feeling like you lack confidence, feeling like you don't necessarily like a failure and rejection, that's totally normal. But guess what? It's a signal for you to work on it, to learn, to improve, and most importantly, to take more action. You see, no matter whether you feel lack of confidence or fear of failure or fear of rejection, the major, most effective antidote to all of that is take more action, take more action, take more action. Inoculate yourself, familiarize yourself with the experience, and you're going to feel more and more confident for these specific situations. And then what's going to happen, you're just going to set higher goals, and then we're back to the level 0 of feeling a little bit afraid, not really that confident. But I guess the main idea here is get your confidence from showing up, for taking the action, for seeing it through, for working on it until you improve. Get your confidence from there. And remember, whenever you hear the voice inside of your head, you're not good enough for that, or you're not good as somebody else, you add, yet. I can learn, I can improve, I will work on that, I will get better, and I will be good enough and better, and then I'm going to set new goals. That's how every single human being grows. And by the way, people you admire, all of them, athletes, politicians, business people, entrepreneurs, any sort of, again, public people, orators, speakers, all of them had to work on it. Nobody landed on arena in front of thousands of people by chance. A lot of work. And the more I interview those people, the more I talk to people who achieve great success, a lot of work, a lot of prep. Did they feel those feelings like lack of confidence, fearing failure and imposter and rejection, and feeling like an imposter? You bet they did. But it didn't stop them from working on their skills, improving, and becoming the kind of person who doesn't just deserve to be there, but becomes one of the best. And you can do that too. And if you're not good enough for that, you might not be, but yet you can always improve. And speaking of improvement and growth, I promised you to tell you what's the most important part, or the most important tool you need to learn to make yourself grow, to make yourself unstuck instead of like running in circles and feeling you're on the same level business-wise, relationship-wise, I don't know, your fitness-wise. You need to learn how to set stretch goals or any goal. Like whatever you don't have, it's a goal that you don't have and you're not good for it yet, because if you were good for it, you'd already have it. So the most important skill that you want to adapt as a person into growth, if you want to start or you want to become that person, you need to start working not from the now, but from the future you want, from the goals that you set. Not only goals will allow you to stretch yourself and grow the most and the fastest, but also research shows that if you want to make a person more productive, motivated, energized, and unlock most of their talents, you gotta set a goal for them. Nothing will motivate person and will energize, will optimize in all of their resources, like setting a goal, giving a clear destination and direction. And obviously, if you want to set effective goals that will motivate you through the hardest times, you want to make sure that the goal is connected to your internal center, like your why, your values, your purpose of life, your reason for living, what makes your life meaningful. And for that, you'll also need to do some internal work. And by the way, if you want to do it together in a guided session, then there is always a session, a link available for us to get together on a call and us to either discover your why, your purpose, your values, to then be able to set better goals, the goals that motivate you and fire you up every day, and especially when things get hard and you don't want to do things. But anyhow, goals, that's the ultimate tool for you to accelerate growth and jumpstart your growth. So if you feel like you're running in circles in any area of your life, be that your business, be that your relationships, be that your health and fitness, you got to set a goal. And that's not just me saying, but all of the experts on transformation, on coaching, on high performance, on any sort of development will tell you, you got to have a goal if you want to grow. And that is it. You got to set the goal and then allow the goal to tell you what you lack, what skills you lack, what practices you need to implement, and what you need to change on day-to-day basis in order to and the most important part of it that I think a lot of people miss, and that's why they have this fear of failure or rejection. The most important part is, you see, the result is not even a goal itself, because I was listening to this podcast with an astronaut on Michael Gervais podcast, Mastery or Finding Mastery. And in order to be accepted to be an astronaut at NASA, got to jump through quite a lot of hoops, and there is a lot of competition, like the best of the best want to be astronauts, right? And he said this phrase, a quote that I really loved, and that represents what growth and goals are all about and how to approach them in a healthy way, in a grounded way, in a balanced way, in a way that makes sense in real life. So the quote that he used on the podcast that I'm still listening to, by the way, amazing podcast, check out Finding Mastery. It's all about psychology and mindset of high performance and achieving that mastery, right? It's all the inside game that most people miss. So he said, this astronaut, I can control my outcome, but I can control my efforts. You see, when we set a goal, I believe also why a lot of people don't set a lot of goals, having burned themselves by not reaching those goals, because many people believe when you set a goal and you don't reach it, you fail. No, you actually need to count all the skills you acquired, all the effort that you put in, the person that you became, and that's the result of your goal pursuit. You different. That's the result. Alex Hormozi talks about it all the time. If you don't know who Alex Hormozi is, you probably are living under the rock or not into social media at all. But anyhow, he talks about that all the time. The biggest fear entrepreneurs have is the fear that they're going to put all this effort in and they're still not going to reach their goal. And he said that the antidote to that fear is realizing that the result you're getting is not the goal, but you, the one you become while pursuing that goal. And that ultimately is the reason why you need to set goals. Not to necessarily achieve your goals all the time, because as this astronaut said, I can't control my outcome, but I can control my effort. You never can control the outcome. And that is probably the scariest truth that you need to make peace with and accept. And then after that, failure and rejection and things not working out will not be that scary and hurtful, because you'll understand the fundamental truth of life. The result, the goal that you set for yourself, it is never a guarantee. But guess what? When you set that goal, when you set that aspiration, when you have this clear direction and you put all the effort you can and you put all the work you can sum up with, the outcome, the result is going to be you, but a much, much more profound, better, inspiring version of you. And that's the result that ultimately you're going to get, and that's going to matter, not the goal itself. Even for Elon Musk, he has this goal to put people on Mars or to solve energy crisis on our planet. Heck, he might never reach it. Maybe his next generation after him will not reach it. But because of the efforts that he put in, because of the energy, because of everything that he did, because of that, the goal gonna move forward. But most importantly, he's gonna be the kind of person who will show what's actually possible in this real life, and the kind of person he will become is much more different than if he didn't have that goal, right? So the goal, if you want to get unstuck and start growing in business, in life, in relationships, any area of your life, you gotta set a goal. But you also gotta realize, yes, you might reach the goal, you might overshoot, and you might astound yourself. That is also a possibility, depending also on what kind of goal you set. But the wisest teachers say that you gotta set the goal that you'll never be able to reach in your lifetime. But the pursuit of that goal, that's gonna make one heck of a profound life journey and one heck of a profound version of you. And that's the ultimate reason to set your goals. Stretch goals, break bigger lifetime goals into smaller goals so you can also celebrate successes and milestones and boost your dopamine and boost your motivation. But guys, most important thing you want to take away from today is that, first of all, that fear of you putting all that effort, again, and energy, investing so heavily into that goal and then not reaching that goal, that fear, that's normal. But guess what? That goal is not the most important part. A different you and the life experience that you're going to have, that's the ultimate goal. Most of the time, you're going to be in pursuit. So make sure that the goal creates the kind of pursuit that you absolutely love, the kind of you that you absolutely love becoming. And then once you realize that goal is the goal, but what really matters is self-transformation, the life that you create by getting after that goal, that fear of failure, of rejection, they disappear. It's like, yeah, I felt here, or I was rejected here, but because of that, I got better. I got on a different kind of journey. It guided me towards better path towards better even maybe results and skill set and learnings. And yes, I'm not confident yet, but I will learn, I will improve. Once you realize that the actual goal is the journey, is the pursuit of that mastery of creating the different life experience of astounding yourself with that experience. Once you understand that, you start fearing setting the goals, audacious goals, inspiring goals, and you will start thinking, yeah, I want to change the world, understanding, well, that might not exactly happen as it is in my head, but the pursuit will worth it, and I will achieve a lot more things than I've ever thought possible. It's like shoot for the moon. You might not get it, but you'll end up among the stars. So shoot for the moon, guys. Don't be afraid that you're not going to reach it, that you're going to waste all this effort and energy. You will not waste it. You're going to invest it into the version of yourself that's going to be inspiring and just badass, and the version that you're gonna absolutely love. You're gonna transform your life, and that's what's all about. And that's why you also need the goals, because otherwise you're going to be running in circles and circles. Because, well, if you don't have audacious goals, well, your brain will ask you, like, what are we doing here? We're just going to stay the same, even though for the brain of a human being it is painful to stay the same. But anyhow, if you're stuck, set different goals and create a pull dynamic. So you set the goal, and then your brain will start asking, and you will start asking yourself, okay, how do you get there? What do I need to learn? Where do I need to improve? What people I need to connect with? What projects I need to work with? And you're gonna be not good enough for a lot of those things, especially these more stretch goals you have, the more inadequate you should feel. But don't be afraid of that feeling. That feeling is just telling you, learn more, improve, work on this skills, work on that. And with most of the actually goals, you're never going to be good enough. You're just going to move that goal. It's like with any great actor, athlete, entrepreneur, leader of any kind, artist. They just move their goals further and further and further away. And as far as they're concerned, they're never good enough. But who cares? You're going to get better and better and better. I hope, guys, today's podcast gave you some food for thought, how to approach your fears of rejection and failure and not feeling confident in a healthier way, and how people who achieve a lot actually do that. It's not that they don't have it. They just understand that that's kind of temporarily for that specific goal or outcome, but actually the life of a person who is committed to growth and self-improvement, it's always feeling inadequate, like I'm just not good enough yet for that specific goal. But then you learn and improve, but then you move the goal, and you're again kind of from level 0, you're feeling like inadequate, failure, not impostor, confident, and that's okay. That's how growth feels. It should feel uncomfortable. And also, if you're stuck, maybe you should upgrade your goals and help and let those goals pull you into the new version of yourself, into a new life that you absolutely love living. So if you have questions, please reach out. If you love this podcast, please review, rate, share. This is the only way this podcast can grow and reach more ears around the world of high performance, aspiring entrepreneurs who want to develop the most badass version of themselves, but something inside of them stopping them. So share this podcast with as many people as possible to give more people a chance to get over these obstacles and keep growing, keep improving. What else? There is a session, a link to one-on-one session with me, complimentary for the listeners of this podcast, where we can work on your purpose and on your why and give you a sense of direction and clarity and set better goals, and then figure out what are the stumbling blocks, what are the obstacles inside of you and maybe outside of you that you need to work on in order to get to the next level, whether on your journey, your personal growth journey, your career growth journey, your entrepreneurial journey. Most of the answers are always inside of us. So check out our session. Well, don't just check out, but schedule it. And folks, till next time, keep growing, keep improving. And here's a suggestion. Be okay with not feeling adequate, good enough, feeling like an impostor. That's okay. You are not good enough yet, but you will learn and improve. And that's the ultimate goal of this game we call life.